Alright, it's time to start Chapter 3, and yes, that is actually the title of the chapter. I don't know if that's the best or worst thing, so I'm just going to applaud while shoving my head into the desk. The Samsooth Mountain motto is, "Yo, screw those idiot losers that name Death Mountain, they ain't never climbed a mountain before, we're the real mountains here, pal." They can actually traverse these mountains without like tripping and falling and getting themselves killed, so they're kinda scary. If you're not killed by the mountain itself first. Hell, even those trees look pretty fucking sharp. Welcome to Sharp Peak. Everything will fucking cut you. Yep, that's map alright. Quick, I know how to time travel so we can make that a literal statement. Oh, come on. Even if it is precious to you, you're just gonna use the thing up and then we're gonna buy a new one. Okay, so that mend staff that we can buy in most shops, that's very valuable to me. This staff that breaks very easily and you can hardly find in the game, that's the one I'm fine with using. Yeah, seriously, we only get to move so many spaces per turn. Oh, crap, and they're right there. And Navarre is indeed here. But let's not worry about Navarre just yet. Let's look at her other two characters. Julian here is a thief. Now, usually thieves are used to open doors and chests and not much else. However, Julian's a bit different. He has got some fantastic growth rates, and that's not just for a thief. In general, he's got some of the best stats in the game, so while his starting stats might not be the best, give him a few levels and he'll be hitting pretty damn hard. And of course his speed is quite the advantage. Of course, one of his main problems is that he doesn't have very high defense, but you don't have to worry about that too much, and his other problem is he usually has trouble fighting armored units such as knights, but if you give him an armor slayer or something like that, he should at least be able to do some decent damage. Then we have Lena. Like Rise, she's a healer, and therefore she's not going to be doing any fighting, so you can forgive her HP a little bit, not too much, because even for a healer, it's pretty bad. But nonetheless, she's a good healing unit, and that resistance is pretty decent, so she can take a shot or two from magic units at least. Like Rise, just be extra careful to keep her out of combat, and she should be fine. So, since Lena can't actually fight and Julian's not the toughest unit around, we are going to want to have them back off. Unfortunately, we can't have Lena heal unless we go to the convoy or just have someone trade her for a heal staff, because all she has is that warp staff, which is pretty useful throughout the game, just not right now. This chapter, it's completely useless, so again, unless you trade, there's nothing she can really do, so she's going to be sitting out for most of the chapter. In the long run, though, she is going to replace Rise, so sorry Rise, it's looking like this is going to be your last chapter. Now, I'm actually going to send about half of my units northward here. That's a little overboard, as I would discover at the end of the chapter. Really, you just need to bring your toughest units, and that should be it. Sada's a necessity, because you do need her to recruit Navarre. Other than that, Ogma's a good choice for all those axe fighters, and you really don't need much else. Sada herself can take care of that pesky little archer that's in the corner there. He does prevent her from really doing much damage overall, though, so we want to take him out fast, but it is going to put Sada a little bit out of the way. But I would definitely suggest not sending nearly as many units as I did this way, because it's really not needed. I mean, part of it is I kind of sent half of my useless units up there as well, so they still took up time because for some reason I still use them, or I move them even though I don't use them. So that's really just a waste of time more than anything, but thankfully we'll be getting the preparation screen soon, so we won't have to keep dragging all those guys through each and every chapter, which is really a relief because that's always annoying. So we just want to make sure we don't run into Navarre here. There is a small chance he can one-hit kill us, or at least do a lot of damage to us thanks to that killing edge that he has, which, by the way, in the original game is actually called the Kill Sword, which is kind of just a funny name if you ask me. Oh, you're such a nice person. Have this axe that will murder you! I'd hate to see you come to any harm, so here, have this thing that will devour your soul. I'm getting some very mixed messages here, dude. I mean, come on. I like you, but I hate you. Have this murder axe. I already went over the Devil Axe before in Akania Saga Chapter 3, but if you don't have enough luck while using it, then you will end up hurting yourself. Literally, you will actually somehow just hit yourself rather than the enemy, which is why I never like using it, because I don't like things that can kill me for some reason. I don't know why. I know it's crazy, but that's just how I am. Oh, and also, it actually doesn't get you any money at a shop. Like, if you try to sell it, you don't get any gold for it, or at the very least you get a very small amount of gold, and that's how it is for the entire series, which is kind of a dick move if you ask me. I mean, I don't want to use it, but hey, I can't even sell it, so it's no use to me whatsoever. Oh, nice job, Kane. But I would suggest selling it if you're not gonna use it at all, because there's no point in it just clogging up your inventory, because you only have so many spaces in this game. Right, so are you seeing why I'm not exactly too keen on doing what I did and sending most of my units upwards? Because those other guys down south, they're gonna be in a bit of trouble. Alright, so it seems like Seda knows Navarre, probably just from reputation, though. If she knows him by reputation, Navarre is not exactly known for being a nice guy. He kind of murders people. A lot of people. But since Navarre has a thing about killing women, or lack thereof, he's gonna join our side. Navarre here is our first playable Myrmidon. Myrmidons are sword-using units that excel in both skill and speed, and Navarre here more or less fits that to a T. He does have some fantastic HP growths though, so he can take quite a few hits, provided you can ignore his very low defense growths. Still though, Navarre does what a Myrmidon should. He can dodge quite a few attacks, and he deals quite a few critical hits, so all in all, he's a very good character. I think I mentioned this before, but Myrmidons are actually my favorite class in the series. If you haven't noticed by now, I do tend to favorite the characters that are fast and tend to get critical hits. Those are generally pretty useful. I don't really care for knights all that much, to be honest, because they're very slow-moving and they can take physical hits, but when it comes to mages, well, okay, in all fairness, everybody's screwed if they get hit by a mage in this game, but the characters with high speed tend to dodge it more, so really they're more useful to me than knights. So Navarre himself, at the moment, he's not going to dodge everything, and his skill is fairly high, but that killing edge is going to be what gets him most of his critical hits. Try not to use it too much. Killing edges aren't that rare. Like, usually you do have to buy them, or you can't really buy them from every shop, just, you know, they're few and far between, but you can still buy them more commonly than, say, rapiers or wing spears. But, nonetheless, you should keep it, because it does help him do a lot of damage. Now, interesting thing to note, but Navarre wasn't actually originally a Myrmidon, and that's because Myrmidons didn't even exist in the series until, I believe, Fire Emblem 4, Genealogy of the Holy War. Technically speaking, they were a class in the second game in the series, However, they were only a promotion to the Mercenary class, so I wouldn't quite count that as an appearance for the Myrmidon class, really. I mean, if it's only going to be a promotion for a different one. But yes, Myrmidons as they appear wouldn't actually be included until the 4th game, in which, I forget which her normal name is, but it's like Era or Ayla or something like that, but she was one of the first, and she also had a special weapon which wasn't the Killing Edge. I believe she started with the Shooting Star Sword, or maybe she had the ability Astra. Either way, Myrmidons often have the ability Astra, which allows you to get multiple hits in a single attack. Unfortunately, in this game, that doesn't exist, so Navarre is just, your usual 2-hit character. There are no skills in this game that allow you to do that. 'Tis unfortunate. But originally, though, Navarre was pretty much a mercenary like most other sword-wielding characters. They're kinda similar to Cavaliers, except at least the class splitting off does actually make it so there's a bit of variety. There was no real class split for Cavaliers, so in this game you still have a ton of Cavaliers. But yeah, originally their all-sword-using units were mercenaries, but Navarre was still a very fast unit. However, I believe he was just outright better than Ogma in the original game, because he had some pretty high strength, if I remember correctly. Like, as high or maybe slightly higher than Ogma's. And of course, since he had some pretty good speed growths as well, it just meant that Ogma was pretty much completely outclassed by him? I can't remember every growth rate that they have, but I do remember that overall Navarre was better. This time, I believe they actually increased Navarre's speed growth overall, but he's definitely weaker than he was in the originals, which is a bit unfortunate, but not really surprising. I mean, of course, his gimmick is that he is fast, so he's got that going for him at the very least, and I do like that. I slightly prefer that over just having a lot of strength, though. And in fairness, it's not like I'd be opposed to having both. But speaking of changing classes, this actually did change a different character's class, which kind of would have preferred it to stay the same, but do you remember, what is their name again, Marissa? Forget her English name that they used. I just want to keep calling her Malice, but either way, that character in Icania Saga, yeah, she actually used to be a mercenary, which I think fits a lot better for her because she strikes me more as a stronger character like that, like Ogma or something. She doesn't quite look as right as a Myrmidon, but they did change her to Myrmidon because another thing is, in this game and Fire Emblem 12, there are actually no female mercenaries. Yeah, if you're a woman, you have to be a Myrmidon. Though Myrmidon isn't really an exclusive class because we will have a male Myrmidon at some point in this game. It's kinda weird. They did change that for Awakening. Your avatar can be a mercenary. There are probably a few characters that can class change into that. And of course, my least favorite character from that game is also a mercenary. My other least favorite character in that game is also a Wyvern Knight? Or Wyvern Rider, rather. But that's enough talking about Awakening. If only there was more talking about Awakening. But anyway, in all seriousness, you're probably saying why it was a bad idea to send all these characters this way, right? Through the mountainous passage, which is really slow, it really lowers their movement, it takes forever for them to get through the north. Meanwhile, these guys down here had quite a fairly hard time with the guys down here. Not the worst, though. Bord himself was almost killed. Thankfully, I managed to make it because he just has so much HP that he wasn't killed by it. Was a good experience for him, though. He got a lot of experience. But yes, now they're just having an easy time, and they're probably going to end up getting all the experience there. Heck, even Seta's too far away to really capitalize on anything. Because the other guys are going to head down, and I gotta get these guys through the mountains, and look at that. This guy's fighting Kane. Yeah, there's no way anyone to the north is going to get anything, which is a bit of a shame. I do tend to rely a lot on Ogma, so he's going to get a lot of levels anyway, but I would like to use Navarre a bit more. Oh, and of course, Julian as well. That's definitely a shame that I didn't get to use Julian more, because you do want to be getting levels with him. He is only one of, I believe, 2 thieves in this game. I can't remember any off the top of my head, but yeah, you don't get that many thieves, and Julian's growth rates in general are just fantastic, so you kind of want to train him up as soon as you can, especially since the boss is an axe fighter. We're going to be fighting quite a few boss knights fairly soon, so he's not really going to be that good for those guys, because his strength isn't all that good at the moment, and we don't have any armor slayers. We do have hammers, though. You should probably pick up a hammer, by the way. Like hammers and rapiers, as I said before, we're going to have a lot of armored bosses, so those are going to be so useful for the upcoming chapters, just because barely anyone will be able to do any damage against the bosses, but then Bort will just come in with his hammer and be like, oh, I'm just going to hit you and you're going to die in a single hit. Marth's rapier isn't really too bad, to be completely honest, but given his strength stat isn't quite as high as Bort's, he's not going to do quite as much damage. Though his speed stat is pretty good, so usually he can at least double. This chapter also has a lot of conversations. You can have Marth talk to both Julian and Lena, and I believe he can also talk to Navarre, so we're gonna have him talk to all 3 of them, because why not? Just all the way at the end, the boss is just sitting there like, are they gonna attack me? What are they doing? Are they getting together for lunch? You really shouldn't be making a picnic here, guys. You could trip and fall and cut yourself on a mountain. Of course, then again, you could probably cut your food on the mountain. You never know. But no, they're just standing there. What? Hey, that guy was on our side, and now he's just casually walking over and having a conversation with their leader. What is this? What's even happening right now? Come on, guys! Look, you could at least kill me first, or try, or whatever. I don't care. This is just an insult at this point. Okay, anyone want to walk into my range? I've got a hand axe. Can I throw it anytime, please? Come on. Look, you're just doing all this stuff without me. Can anyone talk to me? Do I get a conversation? I'm just lonely here, alright? You killed all my comrades, and oh god damn it. Now the other guy that backstabbed me is talking to their lord, for crying out loud. This is a bad day. Hello, I am a bad guy. I mean, I'm a good guy. That doesn't seem very suspicious at all, certainly not. No, you're very, very bad at it. Please just stop talking, Julian. Oh, look at that. Martha's trusting. Kind of out of nowhere. He doesn't really have that much of a character development in this game, just because he doesn't get that much time to talk, for crying out loud. Gets to the end of the chapter and everyone's like, oh, Marth, good job, now move on, and then he does without saying a word. So we kind of just transitioned from Marth being vengeful to Marth actually giving people a second chance, even though Julian was kind of an idiot while explaining himself. Luck be with me, because if it's not, then Castor's gonna die. Okay, luck's with me. And thank goodness, because just one round and Castor would have been killed. But now I kinda have to kill him just right now, because otherwise someone's gonna die. Unfortunately, this unfortunately named fellow, yeah, he's so fast he gets double attacks on almost everyone. Heck, even Navarre is gonna have a hard time doubling him. Well, can't double him, so that's quite a hard time. Now, how much you want to bet I finally get a critical? Yep. For the entire chapter, I keep using that frickin' killing edge, and not until I get to the boss do I get a critical. You know, even though it's slightly pointless, and to be completely honest, I kinda wished I was able to kill him with Julian, but hey, I can't have everything, I guess. Julian will be more useful in following chapters, when I'm actually able to use him to kill something. Finally. They're not dangerous anymore. It's a bit late for that. In fact, if it weren't for the mountains themselves being horribly pointy, they'd be completely safe. If it wasn't dangerous, it wouldn't be dangerous. Flawless logic, self. I mean, Rise, that would be a-okay, but you, I don't want to see you hurt. Okay, Rise, you are now officially benched. Sorry man, I like ya, but hey, maybe some other time I'll use you, alright? Whoa, 15,000 gold? Wow, again I am proven right. Shadow Dragon is just leaving money on the ground for us. It just wants us to have money that much.